Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary Club of Worldwide Impact, and we're excited to share our mission and the work we do as part of the Rotary International family with all of you today. My name is Dewan Justiniano, and I'm delighted to be your host for today's program. As you know, Rotary International is a global network of more than 1.4 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers around 46,000 clubs. We are all united with the common goal of making a positive impact in our communities and worldwide. As a Rotary Club, we approach every conversation as an opportunity to learn and to grow together. Especially, our goal is to connect with amazing and fascinating speakers, often with a message focused on the power of ideas to change lives and ultimately the world. As we bring to you a little bit of inspiration that will allow you to think a little bit more about how you can make a difference as well. Today, we're honored to have with us Aude Wilkins, the Executive Assistant of Eastern Congo Initiative. She is an amazing humanitarian, and her aim is to leverage all these administrative initiatives to foster innovative development initiatives and to enhance the community welfare in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Aude has an incredible story to share with us and how the Eastern Congo Initiative focuses on creating lasting impacts through initiative as Asili, a social business model that Aude will share with us in a bit. Aude, thank you so much for joining us today. And please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much to all for being here, and thank you to the Rotary Club of Worldwide Impact for this opportunity. My name is Aude Wilkins, and I am the Executive Assistant for the Eastern Congo Initiative. My role is a support role to my amazing directors and my inspiring coworkers in Congo. What led me to this role is mainly for the last 4 years is finding my purpose through volunteering for a refugee organization for many years. And I knew then that I wanted to go into the humanitarian sector. I knew I wanted to have a support role for an international organization. I was wishing that I could use my native language, which is French. And I spent many, many years volunteering with the aspiration that one day I could break through to that very specific role. And so I did. In 2020, I lost my job, and I wasn't able to find one for a couple of months. And that's when I was able to share my resume with friends at that refugee organization. And that's when they led me to this position I am currently in. So I can tell you that volunteering really helped me get to my passion, and that I really manifested where I am today. Let me take you today to where we work in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. But first, I want to tell you a couple of facts. DRC is the second largest country in Africa after Algeria. It is surrounded by 10 other countries. French, which is very convenient for me, is the official language, and there are 4 other national languages, one being Swahili. Congo gained its independence from Belgium in 1960. It has one of the largest rainforest reserves in Africa. We sometimes hear it called the second lung of the world, because the first lung, as you probably all know, is the Amazon forest. Congo is rich in natural resources. It boasts a vast deposits of industrial diamonds, cobalt, and copper. But unfortunately, it is a country that has been very much exploited. If you own a cell phone and you just have a piece of Congo in your hand. An interesting fact that will be very relevant for our work that I will showcase later is that in 1960, Congo inherited a difficult medical situation, for there were no Congolese doctors in the country. And it was due to the colonial administration that the medical practice was confined to European doctors and missionaries. Going closer to in Congo, it is a large country. The capital is Kinshasa, that you can see at the west side of the country. And then we work in the eastern part of Congo that is still with an ongoing war, civil war, for the last 30 years. So our headquarters is in Bukavu. That's where we have our main operations. We also have an office and some operations in Goma at the north of Lake Kivu. And we also have some services in Minova. And the conflict zone is actually right now literally at the doorstep of Minova, Sake, and Goma, where we work. Eastern Congo Initiative has three main pillars, and ECI and Asili, actually, one of the main pillars is a social enterprise named Asili. We're both working in the region for the last 10 years, and 5 years ago, they met and they decided to merge. So the three pillars are mainly advocacy. We amplify the voices of Congolese partners advocating for policies that will draw the world's attention to the potential of the DRC. We also have a grant-making program where we partner with community-based organizations with a focus on improving economic development and, which is very important to us, women's empowerment. And then our third pillar, which I will be talking and featuring today, is our social enterprise that focuses on access to clean water and healthcare. Let me take you on a discovery of a sustainable business model. Eastern Congo faces some of the most difficult challenges in the world, but it also has incredible possibilities. What we see as the main challenges are mainly the lack of clean water, the lack of high-quality healthcare services, and the lack of entrepreneurship development. So how do we change the status quo? And how do we make sure that the Congolese people are at the driver's seat? Let's go back to 2013 at the origins of Asili. The economy and healthcare system are ravaged by 2 decades of war at that time. Businesses, clinics, and hospitals are destroyed. Billions of dollars of aid have flowed into the DRC. The majority of this funding is usually focused on humanitarian response, and it is tied to a very specific outcome for disease. Now, the leading cause of death are diseases that we already know how to treat, and some of them are mostly linked to the lack of clean water. In 2024, 45% of the Congolese population is under the age of 15. Can you imagine 50% of an entire country's population is so young? So some of the diseases that contribute to the statistic of which 1 child in 10 will die before their 5th birthday. It's mainly malaria, respiratory infections, diarrheal disease, neonatal infections, and asphyxia. And a lot of them are due to the lack of clean water, lack of healthcare services, but also malnutrition. Some of our primary goal is definitely to improve the outcomes for children under 5. With most disease affecting the children, they are being preventable and treatable, and we know how we can tackle this with good health and clean water. Our main priority goal is to show that the community, we can have a change for long-term through services we can offer to them and with their collaboration. Just a quick fact is that 62% of Congolese live on $2.15 or less per day. So when we started Asili, there were a lot of questions to be asked. Can we create a service that people would pay for? And would it be affordable? Can we improve the outcomes? Can we try to measure the impact, and will it work? The answer is yes. We can create a social enterprise changing humanitarian aid for good. Meet Asili. Nowadays, it is a self-sustaining model with a Congolese leadership. The word Asili in Swahili means foundation. When the founders of Asili decided to start the social enterprise 10 years ago in Eastern Congo, people met them with one simple word: don't do it. But one group demanded it. It was the Congolese mothers. Hundreds of women participated in focus groups to address a critical issue. Their children deserved to live past age 5. Working with our team, they envisioned high-quality services that would last for generations and become an inspiration for communities facing instability everywhere, as this model could be potentially replicated in other parts of the world. Even the logo colors was chosen, all the colors were chosen by the mothers. So how do we start? Well, we start with building and building infrastructure. And for that, we need funding and we need sponsors to get that capital and initial operating expense. After that, we are able to launch the services. It can be a clinic, it can be water points, and from there, we can assess what we need to operate it and if the business is self-sustaining. The most important for us was the 3 C's. The 3 C's is mainly consistency. Every service we provide has the same level of quality, no matter which area it is located in, either rural or urban areas. The clarity. The client has the knowledge needed to decide using the services or not. And then community. Like our regional director would mention, everything we do is for the benefit of the community. So what we have is a business with a membership model that was put in place to ensure access to the community, even if they don't have cash in hand. Sometimes the one-time payment is done at the end of the month to cover services for the month after. The benefit is that they will receive with the membership 100 liters of water per day and then access to healthcare as well. And usually the membership depends on which area, if it's rural or urban, it can be between $1 per month or up to $5. So now, if you see on here, there are also options if you are not a member, if you just want to go fetch water and fill up jerry cans, there is an option for that as well. And why is it a business model and just not aid? Well, we want long-term efficiency. Much of Eastern Congo has water infrastructure. Billions of dollars have engineered taps, but without any system to manage the repairs, test the water quality, and respond to the community needs. They only provide short-term solutions. When my director would say in Bukavu, there were hundreds of NGOs working at the time when they started. And what you would see is a lot of projects were being done. And we've seen that, especially with the water systems. But then the NGOs leave. They have a mandate, they do their work and the project, and they leave. And there is no follow-up for any repairs, which then we have seen many, many times, the water system will break. And it will be drastic for the community with no access to water anymore. And it gets people very frustrated, but also it erodes their trust with NGOs. We also want a service with dignity. What it means is it was co-created with the community itself. And we are responding to a need. Everyone is welcome at all our facilities. Their service is a strong commitment that it is for long term. The infrastructure and the cleanliness of our clinics, water points, is a way to show that we care for the dignity of each person. And it's also what the Congolese mother was saying. They are paying for their service, they are able to choose if they want that service. And they are able to make sure that they can comment and critique that service if need be. And for them, that was showing dignity. This is actually one of our clinics, the front of our clinic. In September, we celebrated our 10-year anniversary of the first water tap being built with Asili. Just in 2023, we provided 89 million liters of water. So at this moment, we service over 200,000 people a day. In 10 years, we've sold over 425 million liters of water, and we provided another 100 million to those in need due to natural disaster or war, because we still do a little bit of emergency relief, especially when it is so close to the areas where we work. We currently have 5 medical clinics with 2 advanced diagnostics labs and a maternity ward. We have 52 water points that were built in the last 10 years, and we have 14 more coming in December that are currently under construction, which is very exciting. And right now we would have 66 total by December. Can you imagine if by 2030, we could have 100? How wonderful that would be. On the right-hand side, I'm showing you a picture of a water source where people will usually fetch water, and it is a contaminated water source. And it is there's a lot to say that 60% of the water systems that are installed by the NGOs fail within just 5 years. Now, we are really building those 14 water points in the last couple of months and hoping to be done by December. And what we had to do in the zones where we are building those water points, we did a water survey. Each of these pouches on the left-hand side holds a sample from a family's container of designated drinking water. The teal color, bluish greenish, indicates that water contains very dangerous levels of E. coli. Can you imagine that? The results were shocking, as almost 95% of the water tested contained these levels of E. coli bacteria. But this is where we come in with Asili and the clean water system that is filtered. Their services are affordable to 95% of the population, and each water point is managed by women called water mamas. Asili currently employs over 150 Congolese as plumbers, accountants, engineers, doctors, nurses, and more. And we are only 4 people in North America working right now as support to the teams on the ground. Now, talking about healthcare, on the left-hand side, you will see our local pharmacy, actually. That picture was taken a couple of years ago when we were starting the medical systems. And people would just go into a pharmacy and ask to be treated for an illness. And the nurses would take pills from different bottles without labels, put it in a bag, hand it a bag to the customer. And that's how they would have the pharmacy. Now, on the right-hand side, I'm showing you an Asili clinic. A couple of years ago, the Congolese government changed some of the primary healthcare to have a universal healthcare. So that means our model had to change a little bit because we would have free services to everyone. And we want to focus on maternal health, malaria, children nutrition. So in order to make sure that our model was still being profitable, we are adding some services like blood transfusion, which is very important, and also eye care, because we have seen a need and a demand from the community. And we are hoping with philanthropic funding that we will be, in the next 3 years, adding another maternity ward and some pediatric services. So we are just we are the only nonprofit assisting with emergencies sometimes in our area. In the last 3 years, I can tell you, we went through every year through a tragedy. My first year was with a volcano eruption. And because it was so close to Goma, we wanted to make sure we were doing some relief work. Then last year, we had a big flooding due to heavy rain in such a short amount of time in Calais. And it was around a couple hours from our main office in Bukavu. And the flooding washed out 2 villages. One of our coworkers actually lost over 20 members from his own family. So we decided to make sure that we could actually help with setting up some tents and sending some jerrycans and with water, because our expertise is water also. We did also some school kits for the orphans at some schools. So we had 350 school kits delivered. But the main emergency relief that has been really prominent this year for us in 2024, and we have to continue that work in 2025, is close to Minova. In Minova, we have 1 clinic, and we also have some water points. And everybody from the north of Eastern Congo is flowing towards the south, and they're coming very, very much close to our clinics, our water points. So just in the last 4 months, we've cared for over 2,600 people at our clinics, and we have delivered also 10 babies as part of this additional work. Minova is incredibly in need, and what we did in Minova is that because we have our water points, we were able to extend our system to 2 different schools that are host to displaced people. And for that, and we are seeing a huge increase of influx of people coming to our clinics for care. Now, there are many, many ways to support, and I hope you have questions about it as well. But we really, really love to talk about our work, and especially uplifting and inspiring people to really read on what we do through our website. And we can do also sending some documents. One way to support, obviously, is donating, and especially for the Minova relief effort. We have a lot to do next year. Our target is to make sure that we are giving a baseline care for displaced people in our clinic. And also, we want to make sure that we can extend the water systems to more people, and for them to be able to fetch water and have clean water for at least a year. So we are hoping we can raise the funds to support 2025 for 12 months. There's also another way to support is for some equipment for our clinics. Right now, we have a big push for the eye care kits. There are only 4 optometrists in Congo right now at that time. So there is a need for children and adults to receive glasses and being able to see. And I can tell you 1 eye care kit is around $1,800. And it will expand our services to more community members. Another way to support is joining us on a donors trip. We organize everything for you to see the programs, meet the community members, and really visit our Asili clinics. And you can drink from our water points, Asili water, and really showcasing our work, but also getting to meet the incredible coworkers we have. And there is so much joy every time I go to Congo 2 to 3 times a year. And there is so much joy, so much resilience from everyone I meet. And it's I fell in love with Congo on my first trip. And it's incredibly rewarding to be visiting such a place that has so much beauty. Least but not last, I want to showcase 2 mamas, Mama Salome and Mama Jose. They are pivotal to our work with Asili. They will go to churches, they will go to different groups, to many, many schools, but also to special events. And they will teach and they have a song, and we can send you some links to see beautiful, beautiful videos. But they are teaching about hygiene and water safety, how to wash your hands, from how to boil the water if needed, how to cook with Asili water. So they are incredible in making sure that the communities know about our wonderful services. I want to thank you all for being here and listening to our incredible work. And I remember I'm just a support person. The work being done in the ground by my inspiring coworker is what we really need to applaud.
Thank you, Aude, for this amazing presentation. I'm taking a look to a couple of questions here from our colleagues. Our colleague Sam has a really interesting question. Is there something we, as citizens from countries around the world, can advocate for from our national governments?
Yes, yes. Sometimes we actually work on some bills to do better access to market, for example, for Congo. So ECI has worked in the past to make sure that coffee farmers would have a better access to international market. And some bills are being passed through governments, of course, to have that happen. So there are ways to advocate for that, absolutely. And we can also share, after the presentation, if somebody was really keen to talk about their own government, to their own government, we can share some information as well.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're very, very happy to learn more about it. We have our friend and special guest, Amanda. Welcome.
Yeah, I work with Sam at Rotary and wanted to join because I am longtime friends of Asili and ECI. And when I heard Aude was speaking, I go, I need to join this. So for someone that has known the organization for a very long time, it's great to hear this update and can attest to the absolutely tremendous work that is put in into Asili. And I think when we look at Rotarians and what we do in our clubs and in our communities and around the world and really connecting to the Rotary family, I think one of the things that really is in alignment with Asili is how we as Rotarians really do things with so much heart and passion. Just even the service above self aspect of, what do we give of our time, our money, our talent. And while Asili, yes, is an organization, a business, the people that have come to be the heart and soul and the workers of Asili embody that Rotarian heart, because what they do is with entire, passion and heart and drive, giving so much of their self to accomplish that work. And so I mean, you've come to the right club in terms of a very global group, and would love to even say a part of a conversation too with your club. I belong to a club in Minnesota, but always have been eager to see how we can brainstorm and bring in Rotarians and be more engaged with Asili and ECI.
What a great surprise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amanda. I think Amanda touched a really important point, and it's that power of connecting through members around the world, and especially with inspiring speakers such as Aude. Thank you so much for that. Absolutely. As a Rotary family, we work together to brainstorm, and something that identify all of us is that spirit and passion to engage, and we are problem solvers. We are extremely happy to have you here, Amanda. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. We have another question from our colleague Patrick. You already shared some of the ways we could support. Can you share the website or links where our audience can find your organization and the ways to support the people in Congo?
Yes, absolutely. Our website is easterncongo.org, and we will put it in the chat as well, but it is easterncongo.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really want to ask, what inspires you every morning when you wake up and say, okay, I'm doing this today?
The communities in Congo, the people we serve, the children I have witnessed going to the water points, the mamas that say hello to me when I go through a market. And probably number one is my coworkers. I don't think about a day without talking to them, even when I am off. But they are my inspiration. The incredible challenges they face. It's not easy. There's rains, there's floodings, there's roads broken, there's water taps that we have to fix, and reservoir that got, that got damaged. But everybody keeps going, and it's incredible, and they bring so much hope. One story I want to share is that in Minova, we are very, very close to the war, right? We have one clinic and water points. That means we have our co-workers there. At one point, there was a way to say to them, we can evacuate you. And they said no, because they are from Minova. They belong to the community. They want to stay, and they want to give the best care possible. And that's why it is so important for us to continue that emergency relief for Minova, because it really speaks to the heart of my coworkers. And that's what I think about when I wake up, about them and the incredible bravery they face every day. So yes, that's my answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, that's really insightful, and thanks for sharing that personal answer with all of us. It's incredible to see the dedication and commitment of colleagues, and specifically in these areas where the conflict is so close to. Thank you for sharing that. Back to Amanda. Thank you.
I know that it's often said, if a program or a project can function in Congo, it can function anywhere. And with Rotary, we look to do projects all over the world. Whether, in developing countries, non-developing, are there any lessons learned from the implementation of these programming of the programs in Congo that could serve as lessons for us as we look to do development projects in other areas?
No, it's great. Actually, our engineers and our field coworkers would be able to speak better on that. I can tell you, every country has its own. A lot of them have their own challenges, right? And the context can be different. So there would be some adaptation to the project. But I think the number one thing that was the most important is having the community involved in the co-creation at the start of everything. Because a lot of time with NGOs, what we see is that you have a mandate for a project, you go in and you do that, but it's not necessarily tweaked towards the community. Even my former director used to be in a refugee camp, right? And he was saying the food that they would be served were not the typical food that they would eat, like refugees would eat. And that mandate of doing something and just getting it done doesn't work. You have to have the buy-in of the community. And I think that was the main lesson that has been why Asili is actually pretty successful. And of course, there's, things along the way that happens. And especially in this part in Eastern Congo, the incredible tragedies with volcano eruptions and the rain hasn't made it easy, for sure.
Wow, it's impressive. It's impressive, all the hard work that is taking place in Eastern Congo. It was coming to my mind this year specifically. Have you and the team face any challenges in terms of being so close to the war, or any other challenges?
It can be from like we service water, right? And we have a reservoir, but heavy rains have damaged some of our reservoirs. So we are going to have to do an appeal to probably some companies or organizations in the US to help us fix that reservoir as well. It just, we are very careful about the stuff that goes into that area. The roads are blocked, so you cannot go through the roads, and especially because you have rebels and you have military, you have a lot of checkpoints. It's not safe, and especially not for women. And I can tell you, most displaced are women and children. So we usually, when we have to deliver, for example, jerrycans, we delivered over 3,000 jerrycans for the families. It's usually done by boat. And I think that's one of the things is just the continuation of our services is number one priority for us in Minova, to make sure that we support the team of, doctor nurses that are there. For that, we will be doing a lot more appeal through the end of the year and early next year to really cover that year. Because unfortunately, we never know when the war will end.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. We have a last question from our colleague Sam. What lessons do you think we in the Western countries can take from Congo?
Damn, that's incredible. That's an incredible question. I'm thinking about my Congolese coworkers and the resilience they have. Sometimes if, my dishwasher is broken, it's the end of the world for me, right? And then if I talk with one of my coworkers in Congo about it, they're like, let's put this in perspective. You're changing your perspective when you're visiting other countries. I had been to a refugee camp in Rwanda, and I came back. And when I came back, I was like, I can never complain about anything ever in my life. They are teaching me to be a better person, and by rolling with some of the challenges. And they'll say, oh, this is broken and we had to spend 10 hours on this instead of something that you could spend 1 hour in the US, right, or in Europe. But they are totally okay with that. The work has to get done, and we continue. And I think it's the resilience and I've seen that because I'm European and I also live in the US. We get really worked up about sometimes little things, and they are teaching me to become a better person.
What an amazing lesson for all of us to continue learning. Again, colleagues, another virtual warm applause to Odd. Thank you. Thank you so much. And to all of you, colleagues and friends, thanks for joining us in today's program. We are delighted to have all of you here with us today. And it's an inspiring and amazing conversation with Odd that you will be hearing on your favorite podcast service. You can watch it again in our YouTube channel, or you can view it in our website. If you enjoy this program, please share it with a friend, with your colleagues, with your family members. And something really important, do not forget to leave a good rating and a review in those social media channels. And of course, we like 5 stars. Thank you so much. And if you are inspired to get involved and make a difference in your community, we invite you to learn more about the work of Rotary International and Rotary Club of Worldwide Impact. With that said, once again, thank you so much, Odd, for being here with us. And I'll give you the mic once again for your closing remarks. Thank you, Odd.
Thank you so much to all of you for being here, and our listeners. I just want to emphasize there is so much hope. There is so much amazing organizations out there. Asili is my passion, and there is so much to learn from it as well. So I'm eternally grateful for people who are actually wanting to learn more about Eastern Congo, not only our organization, but the country itself, which is a beautiful country. So thank you again, and wishing you all the best as well.
Thank you once again. Wilkins, a warm applause. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you.